Hey guys, Duke here, and today I'm going to be making a solo Master Lost Sector guide for the Concealed Void Lost Sector on Europa. This one is definitely a more difficult Lost Sector, but after some experimentation, I have what I think is a pretty strong build to get it done to help you guys farm those new and better rolled exotics. For the Concealed Void Lost Sector, there are both Barrier and Overload champions, as well as the Match Game and Locked Equipment modifiers that are in all of the Master Lost Sectors. This Lost Sector has Solar and Void shields, so having weapons that can deal with both is definitely something you want to have when attempting to farm it due to the Match Game modifier. And again, due to the Locked Equipment modifier, you won't be able to change anything once you start, so make sure you go in fully prepared for all enemies. I tried a few different loadouts to see what I liked the most, and I ended up going with Hailing Confusion as my kinetic and anti-barrier option, Truth Teller as my energy and void option, and Xenophage as my heavy and solar option. Between your kinetic and energy weapons, you can run pretty much anything as long as you have your anti-barrier of choice in one of those two slots. I decided to load out around Truth Teller mostly for the blinding grenades. This Lost Sector has quite a few threatening enemies, and the ability to blind some of them is a nice additional survivability tool, as well as having solid range to be able to break the shield of the Void Servitor in the boss room. I tried both Anarchy and Xenophage as my heavy options, but I found Xeno to be quite a bit more useful to me due to the extremely potent overload captains that are in this Lost Sector. Having Xenophage to be able to take them down before they get out of their stun from being overloaded made things a lot easier, especially with what I chose to use as my overload option. Speaking of overload, I used the Thermal Overload class item mod to stun the overload captains. This mod allows solar or stasis grenades, in my case solar, to disrupt overload champions. I had originally tried pairing this with Surge Eater, which gives you your grenade back whenever you disrupt a champion, allowing for a somewhat infinite stun of overload champions. However, there is a bit of time in which they are immune to being stunned again, and with how much damage they can output, I found that it was super important to be able to kill them in one stun. Therefore, I made my choice of running Xenophage as my heavy, but due to its weaker ammo economy compared to Anarchy, I also made sure to run Spoils of War. This mod guarantees a heavy ammo drop every time you finish a champion. Based on how I was taking on the champions, especially the overloads, I am always going to be finishing them anyways, and having a way to make sure your heavy is topped off is huge for success in this Lost Sector. Finally, I run Protective Light for the extra survivability, as I would suggest in any high-end content in which survivability is important. I also made sure to run Machine Gun Ammo Finder, as well as Machine Gun Scavenger for even more chances to make sure I had enough Xenophage ammo to get through all of the enemies. For this Lost Sector, a lot of the rooms are going to require patience and you may die a few times in certain areas, which is totally okay. I definitely died a couple times throughout, but you do have 3 reses to start and get 1 extra per champion defeat, and with how many champions there are in this Lost Sector, you'll have quite a few reses. Just a reminder too though, that you do lose any reses after 15 minutes, so you want to make sure to move through with a bit of pace when you can. Your first challenge is going to come right away in the form of an Overload Captain and Barrier Servitor, as well as a Solar Shielded Heavy Shank. If possible, you want to kill all the little adds that you can, and then deal with the Overload Captain by itself. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm running the Thermal Overload Grenade to stun him, and then make sure to burst him down with Xenophage until it is finisherable to get the heavy ammo back with Spoils of War. Depending on where the Barrier Servitor is, you may need to be patient and get it to be in a spot that you can see it without putting yourself in too much danger. If it happens to teleport downwards into the Vex Milk, it won't put up its barrier, so that can be a positive if you are lucky enough for that to happen. But even if it does, just burn it a bit with Xenophage, break the shield, and then finish it off. You can then deal with the Solar Shielded Shank with 1 Xenophage shot to break the shield, and continue on along the path once any remaining Fallen are dead. The next room has 2 main enemies that you will want to defeat, the Barrier Servitor on the left side, and the Overload Captain towards the right. I would suggest going left first and trying to get an angle to kill the Servitor. There are also quite a few Shanks and other enemies that it could be helpful to go after first over here, but depending on where the Servitor is and what it is shielding, you may have to adjust on the fly. Once everything including the Servitor on the left is down, you can get above the Overload Captain on the right and take it down pretty easily as shown. As you continue deeper into the room, there is 1 more Heavy Shank and 1 more Overload Captain to deal with. Make sure to also take down the Sniper in the back of the room behind the Captain, near the blue wall, as it made quick work of me when I left it up while also trying to deal with the Captain at the same time. Right after you jump up past where the blue barrier wall was, there will be a few wretches. Just take a few extra seconds to be careful when killing these, and they shouldn't be too much of a problem. In the long hallway, there will be a bunch of exploder shanks, as well as an overload captain and barrier servitor at the end of the hall. I would highly suggest dealing with all of the shanks first. You'll want to go up a little bit into the hallway to make sure you have baited out and aggroed all of the shanks. Then you can run back a bit and take them out with a little space between you and the explosions that they will create when they die. Focus on taking out the overload captain next. If you can, try to make him teleport up a decent distance away from the servitor so it doesn't shield the captain at an inopportune time. As long as you do that, neither the captain nor the servitor afterwards should be too much of a threat to you. Finally, you will be in the boss room. There's not too much of a secret to this room other than patience and slowly whittling down the boss. One thing I would suggest that I didn't do here is to continually look out for heavy ammo drops and go run up and grab it if you do get any drops, assuming you have reses left. It is totally worth taking a death to not have to just use primary ammo to take the boss down. If and when the servitor on the right shields the boss, use your void weapon of choice to break its shield and stagger it off the boss. Other than that, just kill things that rush you or are a threat to you and continue to slowly take down the boss until it is dead. Then you can run up to the back of the boss room and claim your loot. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Make sure to leave any feedback in the comments below, and drop a like and subscribe if you are new if you enjoyed the content and want to help support the channel. And as always, have a wonderful day.